I wanted to start it at 10:35, but I noticed at the last second I had set it up for the PM, so we had a little hitch in the giddy up, but it did, give me a few more minutes. There's been some confusion. I don't know. I'm going to just lay it out here. The end time prophet that the whole mud flood was Armageddon, the short season thing. This is me. That's him and his son. There's a lot of confusion about what's real. This is my family. These are my children and my wife. And yeah, we did that. Here's my son being born. We did this. Had the job, retired. There's my, that oldest daughter. That actually is a picture of me and Sault Ste. Marie. That's in another country. That's in Canada. Hey, Canada, your country ends in duh. Yeah, this is my family. They're somewhere in the world today. But God has me here doing this right now in Alamosa, Colorado, Adams State University. They're caught in a lie. They took my money and then said I didn't send it. And then now it's proven they did. They did it. They're the bad guys. And so finishing up school, but the Trump, the money, the everything else. And then I'm there, I wake up after finding the gold in the last videos. My good friend, fellow artist Joaquin Herrera is, leaving today. He's going to be gone for a few weeks. So got a lot to do. But welcome everybody to Mud Flood was Armageddon. The mud flood was the Armageddon. Don't let anyone tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate me in a fair and honest way. And if you have any questions, let them go, because now's the time. We're in the mix. We're in the midst of the situation, something going on, and you know it. I know it. The American people know it. They demand disclaimers, because this is a world ruled by, there's people of certain ages, there's certain copyrights. People got to make money, because your love may give you a thrill, but it does not pay the bills. You need money. This man, I was watching a video here called The Debt Paradox. We may go over it. When this scrap is over, the scrap he's referring to is the Great Depression, then World War II. This guy made it up to, he's got a lot of stripes there. He's a something. And he's just said, when I buy my war bonds every payday and I hold them, and when this scrap is over, I'm going into retirement and doing lots of fishing. That's what he was going to do, golf. Everybody was going to retire. Keep that in mind. That's the goal, right? You were going to retire. You were going to retire. You were going to have money to retire. You have debt. Mystery junkie. Another one of those new computer channels. Meyer Lansky, Mafia, USS Normandy, which was taken over from the French because they were siding with the Nazis, and it got sabotaged and sunk in the harbor of New York City. The Mafia did it, and they let Lucky Luciano out of jail. They helped Mussolini, get captured. It was. We'll look at this thing too. Flavia. That's a big body part of a Nephilim Titan. giant titan, Elohim, that said, "You're going to die like men." And then they do. And they got the gold in them, and the rest is history. This is the Wikipedia page. I saw this picture as one of their like blow me away things when you sign on to the Google. They show a picture before you do your code. This was it. You go to Wikipedia, they don't show the whole thing, but pretty cool. So nerves, veins, arteries usually run in groups. Even this computer's talking about South America was Ethiopia. What? Rainbow stuff. There's that gold. Man, that is a hard rock. That's what it looked like when I first broke it away. That's one side, that's the other. Crazy. Let's work through these tabs. You ever hear of this tab? Uruguay. You might think, they live in grass huts, and cook their tortillas over on a rock or something. He died on May 13th this year. Isn't it funny that somebody would make a video and it's not about the United States and other nations? They worry about themselves.
The living world. I mean, life in general. It's a fragile thing.
That's not New York City. This is how the nations are living around the world, and they're afraid of the same things you're afraid of.
To our home, we open our arms to him, take him in. To me, it seems that when an African goes to Europe, they don't like him. That's why they have these killing machines here in Morocco.
What?
They're not just walls anymore.
What happened? Where we were in Uruguay a minute ago.
Street, like I saw from the window. You piss your pants, you're so afraid. You and the bravest among you. It's shameless. It's one thing to have money and not pay. It's another to have no wages and still have to pay. It takes an
They're not talking about America. Is he's their Donald Trump, I guess. I've never heard of him before yesterday.
Predator we have inside us. Man is an infinite conqueror.
All right, so they really don't talk about him that much. They get into this guy. Oh,
Come on in.
Thank you.
It's a squatter's home.
But it's your home.
For now, anyway. I've been here since October. We met at the association.
I heard that.
it's just like what goes on, and he had some good ideas. Yeah, everybody's broke.
We think Africa's misfortunes are due to Africans. But no, it's humanity. Europe makes them suffer. Europe constantly wants to screw them over and keeps on doing it. The thing is, the revenge of the poor lies in the fertility of their bellies. While the developed nations and the rich have low fertility rates, the poor keep on bringing people into the world. They'll always be in the majority. Masses of young people are fighting for a way out, albeit desperately.
Wow.
I don't know what to do to strike a balance.
To start, I don't even know what balance actually is. First, I have to deal with my professional responsibility.
This is a professional video, right?
Western man thinks that he invented democracy because he invented parliament, the division of powers, etc. That attitude is all.
Well, other nations learn the same things we do.
That gives you an idea of the gravity of the issue of solitude. That's why the homos is a political animal.
Wow.
They need groups. Lack of relationships is becoming a fundamental problem.
Are they programming you for fear? In every country in the world? What is that? What are these artists, right? It's there's poor people, and I think that I've had to be with it, you know, and I've seen them and been with them.
It's the parent of egoism, and love is the parent of solidarity.
Okay, so that kind of is the love thing. Where's that one scene where, if I can find it real quick, I mean, they were pulling these people off the fences and just, it's crazy. What's this? Dramatic videos from another country. Everybody getting along with their life. How you doing? Come on, people, smile on your brother. You know, everybody's got to make a living.
The human being is a conquering animal.
Oh.
It began in Africa.
Oh.
Here in America, it took 35,000 years to.
But even in other countries, they have to give you the globe-loving history breakdown of their nonsense history. All right. Well, now you know. Here, I just talked to her today because when I got my online subscription, somehow they were sending me a hard copy to my mailbox, which isn't that big. And they're like, no, stop sending it. What are you doing? Look at this guy did with his free time. I thought you might like to see that, you know, there are some productivities. Now, these are the river verses. I was caught up, and we'll have to decide what scriptures we're going to look at.
Night and the sleep begins and ends. After all the dreaming heaven, leaving me in a black winged bird. I think I died. Lay me down in a field of flame and never render up my body into the burning heart of God in the belly of a black winged bird. Don't try to bleed me, 'cause I've been here before and I deserve a little more. I belong in the service of the Queen. I belong anywhere in between. She's been dying and I've been drinking.
What? Huh?
Through sand in our eyes and descended like flies. Put us back on the train.
One of the greatest guitar players that ever lived, in some people's opinion. But he died after the Pretenders' first album because he liked heroin, because heroin takes away the pain. The common memory of, well, what is a chain gang? Well, you work off your debt.
They'll fall to ruin one day for making us part.
Back on the chain gang.
Era hijo mayor de una familia nobiliaria holandesa.
Geocentricity, Taco Bray, in Espanol.
Amurallado.
It's a worldwide phenomenon. This is geocentricity. It's a globe-loving thing too. The math works. You can make the math work for almost anything. Statistics don't lie. People use statistics to sell you lies.
Fuera, se ve que
Something like that.
Allá se ven las montañas.
I've been thinking.
En la segunda ya es gente que está dentro. Y en la primera están en la sala con Taicho. Bueno,
what else you got? That's just the same picture from another era. You did it. That guy did it. He had a fake nose. Where's the picture of that? Yeah, one of them had a fake nose. I looked up Delectus corpus just to see if it would give me the corpus delecti. You need to know about the body of the crime. Is there even a crime? What is a crime? How do you know it's a crime? Is it a crime on one side of the street? If it's a border town, what is that? What are you going to do? This king said that law. The other king said, nope. And who's got the biggest gun? Who's got the most money? In Western law, okay, I guess that's what we go by, Greco-Roman, classical, Renaissance influence, demon-possessed, Satan-loving, whatever we got going nowadays, as we count down the years to 2046, crime must be proven. Did you hear that? To have occurred. You got to prove it. I've been wronged. By who? By the people who framed Lee Harvey Oswald. Prove it. Okay. Well, there was this Jolly West. No. Okay, time's up. A person cannot be tried for larceny unless it can be proven that property has been stolen. Likewise, in order for a person to be tried for arson, somebody had to start fire. Fire! Not fire in the hole. All right. An individual has died as the result of an action or an inaction by others. They let it happen. We could have told those people, you're fighting for oil. We don't need Smedley Butler and his, save us bigger, honest government, because that's not going to work. The days of honest government seem to have gone the way of the dodo bird, which went the way of the dodo bird because of not Armageddon, that 1,000-year reign where the wheat and the tare grew together. That had to end. That's another reset, right? There was the Armageddon, and then there's the carrier pigeon, buffaloes. Well, there's still some buffalo, but there's other things that just disappeared, and we have to realize there's more than Armageddon in play right now. Inaction, that's one of those things. Reasonable doubt. Well, and then you want to throw what? Exsanguination? Huh? Total loss of blood leading to death. For example, you'd have to prove that, but you need the corpus delicti, you need the habeas corpus. There really isn't a lot on something as important. Oh, look, here's that sovereign citizen movement. They want you to believe it's the most ridiculous thing in the world that if you don't want to identify with the sovereign who has, well, in my situation in Colorado, this land was stolen while it was a territory, then made a state, retrofitted into, sorry, you other nations. And we know as a mud flood, those buildings were lived in by those people. They said it's ours now. They established their jurisdiction by force. And we're supposed to go, I guess they got it. They win. Then that's our new sovereign. And if they draft you, you go to war. If they blow your retirement fund because they're sexual perverts, well, then they're going to answer for that. I can't believe, that even the smallest things, like I've been going 23 minutes. I was doing a lesson. I had 11 people. I wanted to bring in and say, here's me telling you this. It went from 11 viewers to 4 as soon as I showed my face. And inquiring minds need to know, what's the connection there? Was it the pipe? Was it the coffee? Is it going to be the cigarette? Which sacred tobacco to me is as important as THC and marijuana, the nicotine. I'm back. I'm already, I don't care about whether I have 11 or 4. I'm living my life right now doing this. And when I'm done with this, I've got school. Remember, I lost my wallet. It seemed like a miracle happened yesterday when I got my new debit card the next day. And it was put at my back door that I never go to, but Joaquin was here and we were breaking down that gold rock. And the man who won the winter Frio race, a 10-kilometer race in the snow, was going, I'm cold, it's too windy, let's go on the other door. And there was my FedEx package. And if you want to check the weather in Alamosa, we had gusts of 48, 50 miles an hour. And to him and to me, it seemed like, wow, I can't believe that's even still there, but there it was. And now we're going to be dealing with the summer, dealing with the fact this school is caught in a lie. They sold me a product, then said they didn't. And now if everybody who the four people that are left, if you want to know what the rest of the Bible story is for today, instead of just like, oh boy, we got star forts, then I feel like it's okay to go on. We got the corpus delicti thing, right? Scots law, Black's law, jurisdiction, the normal school movement. Believe I talked about it last night, showing the thing, they're everywhere under the flat earth domed world. And it was planned before something happened in the 1911, it was white power. The Ku Klux Klan didn't sell it as, come on, let's be violent. They sold it as rational, a debate between Protestants and Catholics, except they were all in on the Trinity. So it's really a lose-lose, let's fight thing. But all the white power and the eugenics and the Darwinism, the social Christianity of what Protestantism turned into was planned for this today, where they're taking your money. It's all the same thing. And now we're covering up our racist past, and it didn't work out for everyone. But why did the other people have servants? I mean, we know it was white power world, the normal schools, everywhere from Massachusetts, Texas, Kentucky, Colorado, Burch, Wisconsin, to Beijing, to Japan. It's everywhere, man. Java. Because the world goes through God's judgments at the same time. And like we're right now, we're in the middle of it. What is this? Washington, you too?
So my first point of research was from historylink.org, where I found an essay from 2019, and it basically lays out the whole premise of the KKK in general, like the first and second and third wave. So the first KKK was founded in 1865 in Pulaski, Tennessee, and their first Grand Wizard was former Confederate General plus slave trader Nathan Bedford Forrest. Their motive was to thwart the government efforts to help newly freed slaves. Their main tactics against the newly freed slaves was terror by beatings, arson, rape, and lynchings. So
wow, they definitely needed a kinder, gentler version. That's for sure. So Washington State, they didn't even have black people, really. But they had that. Now, I really thought that I had another one of these pulled up. But our state was big in the Klan.
Shut the investigation down now. One stalwart Klansman disappeared that day. During the entire 7.5 months of this investigation, no cross was ever burned in Colorado Springs. The KKK of the late 70s didn't end. People have to get out of their head the fact that the KKK ends. They never end.
No, they morphed into the John Birch Society. These guys did it. But he presented himself as just a rotund, happy-go-lucky, but serious in his Christianity, the eugenics, the Bible was true. Some people were born to be servants. That's what they taught.
Not an elected official himself, but to manipulate them within an inch of their lives.
John Caleb Locke was an odd-looking man. He was rotund. weighed 250 pounds. He was short, he was fat. Some people called him a toad. He set up a private office at 1325 Glenarm Place. You would see John Galen Locke sitting there in a throne, guarded by 2 Great Danes and also bodyguards.
He was reasonably intelligent. His office was filled with armor and things that came from the Middle Ages. He was a romantic. He thoroughly believed in what he was doing.
He kept, as his personal secretary, a Catholic. He was married to a Catholic. His lawyer was Jewish.
He was really a quite courageous man indeed. Dr. Locke had no animosity whatsoever for Jewish or Catholic or Negro. He loved these people. He would do anything to help them if they were ill. And he was so unconscious of.
Wow. See, that's what I wanted you to see, that's what they kind of, you know, but they, even in Grand Junction, where I lived, and now here in Alamosa, there's pictures of, they ruled the government.
Police force, but they've made a very significant enemy in Walter Walker.
By 1925, the invisible
Now, I'm thinking of Walter, you know, the WW, like the Howard Hughes, like the, who is it, the Winfield and Snowpiercer, or in the Bond movies. It's always that guy.
Empire is at the height of its power in Colorado. They are highly visible across the state with public picnics, banquets, boxing tournaments, and performances by the Imperial Clan Band.
And the women, did you see the women were big into it? Look at this, is in the famous Ferris wheel photo from Canyon City.
They have charity events, they have concerts.
For a group that claimed that it preferred to operate in secret, the Ku Klux Klan loved spectacle. And the Klan, of course, created its own newspapers, the Rocky Mountain American. The Klansmen were sophisticated marketers.
I'm thinking about looking into that, checking out that magazine. Did you know when the Bible talks about that one 7x7, you know that this is 7.1 miles, right? We went over this the other night. I can't expect everybody to remember everything always at the same time, but with this reminder, now we're back to San Francisco. San Francisco's land area, relatively small compared to other major cities, but it's the second most densely populated, and it's the 7x7 because its area is very close to 49, the little bit over 7x7. I'm not saying that they built this town on a Bible description, but yeah, I am. I kind of am. You know, I kind of think they planned it back then, and then they covered up the Armageddon or the or after the 1,000 years that it got messed up again, because the put in your sickle and reap, but with the wheat and the tares thing, you know, I don't know if there's anything to these numbers, but maybe. Anyway, that some people call it that, but it's not exactly 7x7, they'll say, you know. There's some other ones that are pretty close to it. You know, it seems like a lot of towns like to say they're the city on 7 hills. It's not 7x7. These guys going like, it's 7.1. Yeah, we know, we get it. Here's that city, Porto Flavia. Wikipedia doesn't show that this is, you know, connected to water. You only can get there on the water. Must be over here or something, you know, where this trail leads. Probably got connections out here. It seems like, right, all the mountains are hollow. So this is in South Sardinia, an Ingles community. Is that what that said? Commune. I didn't see that coming. Southern Sardinia, stuccoed over, mud flood building. All right. Canthus leaf and laurel. Southern Sardinia doesn't get much love here. Look at these graphs of when people had servants and didn't have servants. What are these guys doing? Are they servants? What are you doing? What are those, potatoes or something? Picked up the potatoes. Developing countries have a weak economic base, technological base. The Middle East economy is dependent on its abundant petroleum reserves. Look at there, it's a globe. This is what they learn in their college classes, I guess, or high school. I don't know if there's people can't read in underdeveloped countries, or hard time in Latin American countries because nowadays they got leaning towers in their political division. I don't know. I didn't take this class. Okay, so we got a big difference here. Over 100 years ago, the population was 87 million. Here are some statistics. They say people only lived 47 years. I wonder if that had to do with World War I. 14% of the homes had bathtubs, 8% had telephone. I'm leading it up to, wait till you see how many people had servants, though. Costed by equivalent to 11. You can get a phone call. Seems pretty impressive. 144 miles, that's a gross, 12 times 12. There were only 8,000 of those cars. 10 miles an hour speed limit. Oh man, look at that. The Eiffel Tower was going up 22 cents an hour. I wonder what, the monetary equivalent of our new masters equals today. Home birth was a big deal. That doesn't sound like a necessarily evil thing to me. 90% of doctors had no college education. You just got to be a doctor by rubbing somebody's head and telling them, you're smart. Where's the money? Where's your money? Wow, people were dying from diarrhea. Yeah, no Arizona, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Hawaii, or Alaska. I was born when there were 48 states. In 1907, the population of Las Vegas was 30 people. And it was somebody squatting in a house that said, this is my property now. %80 of the people were literate. Even those, only 6% graduated. Marijuana and morphine were not considered illegal or bad. Can't figure. 18% of the households had at least one full-time servant. And in the United States in 1907, there were only 230 reported murders. You know what they need? Somebody to ban alcohol so that prohibition can take over. So I wanted you to see that about the servants. That seems like a lot. In 1911, approximately 30% of the working female population of the United Kingdom were employed as domestic servants. That means a man who had a job and a family and a house had enough money from that job, over 30% of them, to hire a female to say, you work for me now, help my wife take care of this family. 30% in 1911. That seems like a lot. Where'd you get that? Oh, I don't know about it. If I'm going to have time to read that book. I looked up fractional reserve banking. Is a banking system in which bank holds only a fraction. It's exactly what it sounds like. What's this one? There's a picture. Okay. Does that make any sense? Somebody deposits 1,000, the bank keeps half, lends the other half, money supply grows. Sounds great. Sign me up. Or I'm already signed up for somebody that's now it's into fractional reserve banking is money creation. When a loan is made by the commercial bank, the bank creates new demand deposits and the money supply expands by the size of the loan. That's what nations have to count on nations to understand. We're going to come back to this. It's going to be a part of are there really bank reserves? The countries are pretending there are, even though that whole 1971 gold has no value thing, oil is the big deal. It's a plan. It's a plan to make you poor and make you work all that time to think you had a retirement. Some banks have reserve. They break the law. Maybe we'll come back to that. You need nations to have the central bank of a nation. In contrast to a commercial bank, a central bank possesses a monopoly. What? I thought we hated monopolies. But anyway, Satan and his nations need some monopolies. For your own good, Neil deGrasse Tyson said you should take that vax. On increasing the monetary base, monopoly on increasing, printing money is what they mean. Do we have to, here's that developing nations thing. We're developed, they're not. White people have developed countries. You other people don't. Well, man, that other country in Uruguay sure seemed developed to me. It did. Microeconomics, these were probably invented by the LGBTQ people that they always need, like if it's going to be computers, it's Alan Turing. If it's writing, it's Oscar Wilde. They're always persecuted. Who was that? Maynard Keynes. He's the one that, well, yeah, he's homosexual, but he's the only one who knows about microeconomics. We have to trust him. Oppenheimer, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Wait, I'm wrapping up. I'm not starting. We're going to go back to a couple of more things, I think. That costs a lot of money.
World War II alone, the Fed almost doubled the money supply. But this massive money creation didn't trigger runaway inflation during the war because the money had somewhere productive to go. It matched the enormous expansion in the production of tanks, ships, and planes, resulting in a dramatic spike in GDP. The key insight is that money creation works when there's productive capacity to absorb it. Instead of just bidding up prices, the money flowed into real economic activity. Though other countries, especially those on
Wait till you see these guys working in the factories. So there's the monopoly money. Here's how they make the money.
Like an incredibly rich family.
Consider what happens when the banker runs out of money. The monopoly rules say when it runs out, the banker can simply cut strips of paper and write down new money. This is how the global financial system worked after this moment. Game money became US dollars, and only the US could create it. Today, the US government has over 36 trillion.
Hey, we don't talk about the debt around here, buddy.
Universally rare and desired, and became the first truly global money.
Wow, it's like an idol. I thought that Abraham bought a grave for his wife from the sons of Hamor in the land of Shechem for silver. Because Abraham said, "Hey, what do you guys take for money? I got cows, I got silver." We go with silver. Who are those guys? Oh man. Global chess piece. Is that really all you are? A global chess piece? Can't be. Stop.
Bonds. And then the government spent this new money into the economy. This was a roundabout way of the government printing money and giving it to themselves. And the USA borrowed this idea when it created.
This is how Germany funded by fiat money. They didn't have, an industrial revolution led by the Hitler. They had banks that were doing free money, and those Krupps and IBM, they're still in business. The same businesses that started World War II, ended World War II, and are still in the world today, because this is a judgment, people.
Its central bank, the Federal Reserve, in 1913, known as the Fed. And the Fed used this power on an unprecedented scale during World War I and II.
To supply our men in battle with everything they need, and buying and holding.
And a man was elected president 4 times, but was never shown in public that, hey, I'm in a wheelchair.
Inflation, leading to a critical mistake many made. Most notable was Hungary, who printed money to buy US dollars. They needed those US dollars to pay foreign debts and import basic goods, as nobody outside their country accepted their currency. And so to get these US dollars floating around their economy, the government had to print larger and larger bills to buy them. By 1946, they released the largest note ever, a 100 quintillion pengo bill. And within days, the entire money supply of Hungary could not buy a single US.
I wonder why. Quintillion. Is there really such a thing?
S'endetter gratuitement vis-à-vis de l'étranger, car ce qu'ils lui doivent, ils le lui payent, tout au moins en partie.
And they called America's bluff.
En vérité, on ne voit pas qu'il puisse y avoir réellement.
Countries like France began quietly converting US dollars to gold, since they knew it couldn't last. And gradually the gold drained out of the USA into other countries.
Oh, no.
And a crack finally formed as the market price for physical gold began trading above the official $35 an ounce.
Oh, no. I remember this. Those were the days.
And applied it globally for the first time.
Man, that globally.
Think of country fair tickets. Inside the fair, they're valuable as cash because you must use them for rides and food. Outside the fair, they're worthless paper. Their value comes from the authority requiring their use, known as a fiat currency. Fiat money.
That's an interesting way to put it. Here you go. One more reminder.
Table.
You heard it here kind of first.
Think of your family as a mini economy. Parents earn income and pay expenses.
Some parents used to have servants and the wife stayed at home.
And if a house spends too much and runs out of money, their last resort is to borrow on credit, giving a bank an IOU in return for loaned money. And if the interest rate they borrow this money at is higher...
Yeah. Bretton Woods, come on.
Government promises divided by what you paid for the bond. But if investors lose confidence in the bond and the price drops to, say, 50 euros, because the government is still paying 3 euros annually, the yield doubles to 6%. This higher yield reflects increased risk. And so think of yield as a critical market signal of confidence in government. And what happened in Greece is the bond sell-off continued until
Yeah, no kidding. And it's inevitable. Look what they got going here.
This means the US can create more money than other nations before triggering inflation, since the impact is spread across the world. This unique position lets America issue their bonds, known as treasury bonds, far beyond what other nations could attempt. These treasury bonds form the base of global finance.
So basically, what I'm trying to tell you and prepare you for is you're not going to get your retirement. This is the, trying to tell you, it's the Bible. If you're called, chosen, and faithful, you're going to get it.
And the second threat is even scarier. Realize that when foreign countries earn US dollars from trade, they don't just hold cash, they buy US.
It's just not going to work. Was this really designed to work? To where now they're going to, pay everybody. Oh, yeah, sure. It's going to work. Look, wow, what? We don't know. You can't tell me, you could go to a 40-hour class on that. But the simple fact is, they wanted families to do what they didn't do. To say that they spent like drunken sailors is an insult to drunken sailors, is something I picked up along the way that sounded, yeah, because nobody goes that crazy on shore leave, I don't think, or they have us in a bank. You need it for now. Please start planning for some sort of, what happens when our banks don't work anymore? What happens? Is it impossible? Is it beyond comprehension that China is not kidding when they say we're still mad at England and the United States for forcing opium on us in the 1830s? And that's what the Boxer rebellions and the opium wars were all about. This has always been a mob operation to sell heroin, because some monkeys are going to push the button until they die, but not you. Lord willing, not me, not the people. There will be a narrow road. There will be people that understand that you've read the Bible, your heart's been changed, you have obligations. I'm trying to meet mine because I believe my body's a temple. I'm going to be judged on all of these things. And we all need to pray, ask, knowing we'll receive. Start with that, Lord, increase our faith. We had faith, pray. Obligations, and realizing that there is some form of currency. The Bible is a legal book about how we became legally adopted and were ransomed from our sins, to where the uncontainable spirit that fills anything that you can imagine through sound and vibration, bled and died on a cross, came back to life to prove that we are seeds that are going to metamorphose and change and keep our memories. But it's the idea is we'll be like, changed from a caterpillar to a moth or a butterfly or some beautiful thing that can fly around. We're going to be like angels, not butterflies, okay? But it's as close as the Bible could bring it to our limited intelligence. We will be changed. The wide road will never, ever admit that. They are going to stick to the Darwinism and the love of the Super Bowls and the Wimbledons and the basketball slam dunking contest, because that's so visually impressive when those guys can jump from the free throw line and still force the ball right down in there. It's like, stop that point from happening, you know. But that's such a temporary OxyContin fix. It's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past. Wrap your mind around that. Me, my friends are never going to tell you anything else, because we're called, we're chosen, we're ransomed. We've been adopted legally, paid the price for our sins. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nagabe. Adios, amigo. That's just several ways I like to say goodbye.